And it's Ken Kraetzer for Canvas Media. And it's Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference Tournament Week. Regular season concluded. The Gales 17-3, fine season, 24-7 overall. And but now it's down to 3 games in Atlantic City to determine if they are going to get a bid to the NCAAs. Now, to talk about that, we have Iona graduate, class of 80, member of the great Jim Valvano team, ESPN Broadcaster, Iona Athletic Hall of Fame member, and that is Kevin Hamilton. Kevin, how are you tonight?
Very good, Ken. Good to hear your voice again.
Yeah, it was a good week covering Iona basketball. 2 games. First, the senior night game on Thursday against Marist, a game that Iona controlled throughout, 93-74, and a game that Iona just really dominated. It was nice to see the seniors recognized at the game, and certainly for Barrick Jean-Louis, it was a big day for him, and for James Carey. And then also getting into the game was Stephen Boating, who was a manager, and he got on the record book scoring 2 points. He made 2 foul shots in the last minute. But a game that Nelly Jr. Joseph had 27 points, 11-16 shooting, 11 rebounds, and Dennis Jenkins, 8-17, 21 points. He had a good weekend. He had a strong game down at Ryder Saturday. And Walter Clayton, 18 points. Ashima had 11 points in the game. Derek Jean-Louis had 9. What did you think of Iona's win against Marist on senior night?
So congratulations to all the seniors, first of all. It's very good to see them get a chance to shine and go out a winner. So that was very nice of Coach Pitino to ensure that they were recognized. Seniors don't tend to get enough love if they're not a starter or play a lot. But remember, those are the same guys that go to practice every day and do their job and support the team, whether they play or not. So that was really nice to see that happen. Relative to the game, other than Patrick Gardner from Marist, it was, pretty boring. Patrick is a very fine young man, someone I know a long time, and I've had the chance to see him progress. Was happy to see Coach Pitino talk so highly of him because he deserves it, coming from a Division II program to a Division I program and playing, stellar basketball. To Iona, it's a nice way to win on the home court and prepare for what would be a good contest down at Ryder. So overall, expected them to win, but happy how they won, and most excited that the fans got to send off the seniors the right way.
Also, Parker Weiss recognized as giving Iona a good minutes almost every game this year. And I thought Nelly Jr. Joseph, 11-16 shooting, he looked very smooth. He has improved so much over his 3 years at Iona. His footwork was better. And Coach Pitino has been talking about that he wants Nelly to face the basket more when he gets down low. And that's evident. Why does that make a difference, Kevin?
It gives him versatility. When you become so predictable, it's easy for coaches to game plan against you. Now, I say it's easy, but no one in the MAAC has been able to kind of figure that one out because he's averaged a double-double. So, for his own good, for personal growth, and for the potential to play at the next level, Coach Pitino's doing what he does best, which is improves players and gets them ready for professionals if they're ready. And it's something that, can you imagine if Nelly faces the basket, shoots mid-range shots, puts the ball on the floor? I mean, put that in with what he already does, averaging a double-double, and that makes him, a very potential pro.
Yeah, no, it's good to see. You can see the development and maturity in his game. 39 points between the 2 guards, Dennis Jenkins and Walter Clay. They also had 39 points between the 2 of them down at Ryder on Saturday night. They are both quite a tandem. Coach Pitino's talking about them being as good as the best guard combinations he's had in his career.
Well, he's had some very good ones, and many of them have continued their career. So I'd say both Danis Jenkins and Walter Clayton Jr. are on a trajectory to play after college, as long as they can stay healthy and stay motivated and continue to do the things that they do well and improve on other things that they don't do well. So it's really rewarding to see Iona have this level of backcourt. But you know what? Iona, in its history, has had very good backcourt players, so they fit into the tradition extremely well, as far as I'm concerned.
That includes yourself. You're one of the
Well,
top
yeah,
backcourt players in Iona history.
yeah, I appreciate that.
Honestly,
I think they do some things that I couldn't do, but I would say I was the best shooter out of all of them.
okay. Saturday night down at Ryder, packed gym, and Iona had 2-point lead at the half, and 46 all in the second half for a 2-point win. But it was one of those games Iona just found a way to stay ahead most of the way and keep control of the game. Although it was close, 22 points, I said, for Danis Jenkins, 4 3-point shots made. Walter Clayton, 17 points. Jean-Louis, Barrick Jean-Louis had 12, had some nice shots early, 4 or 5 shooting. And Ashima, 4 of 12 shooting, 2 threes for 10. Nelly Jr. Joseph, 10 points, quiet game for him, 6 rebounds. It seemed like Ashima was doing a lot. I mean, he's a very high energy player, and was getting had a couple of 3-point shots, 10 points, 10 rebounds. But I think the defense was trying to set up for one-on-ones on him, to drive, and he has some difficulty with, as Coach Pitino says, he's playing under 200 pounds.
Yeah, but like I've mentioned many, many times, he's a very key part of why Iona wins. Yeah, the backcourt is great, and yes, Nelly does what he does, and John Luis defends and all that kind of stuff. But you take Osborne Shema out of the lineup, I will tell you right now, they won't be the same. So I have a ton of respect for what he does night in, night out. He can score, and he defers sometimes because it's a part of what they need to do to make sure all other players on the floor get their shots off. But Oz can score, and what other teams are not figuring out but attempting to do is, the best way to play Iona is get one of the bigs out of the game, especially with their backup situation at the power forward and center. Coach not being overly thrilled with that. If you can get one of those guys out of the game, you give yourself a chance. So a lot of teams are going at Oz, and he's going to have to realize that he's important enough that he has to stay on the floor. It's one thing to protect Nelly from getting into foul trouble, but when you're as important as he is, it's another thing for him to get into foul trouble. So look for some adjustments to be made, but I just think he's playing lights out for Iona.
No, you're absolutely right. He is. One thing you notice about Nelly Jr. Joseph is he's not getting in foul trouble like he was doing earlier in his career, where he would frequently pick up 2 fouls fairly early in the game, and Coach Pitino would have to sit him for a while. But that's not happening. He's matured on defense to know what he can do and what he can't do, and and that's part of just how his game is matured. Is that key? Do you notice that, how he's staying out of foul trouble?
Well, I do. And early in the year, particularly when Iona lost a couple of games, is because he got into early foul trouble and had to sit on the bench quite for lengthy periods of time. I think what he's doing, and I know I've heard Coach Pitino yell this to him a number of times, is stay on your feet, stay down. So he's not jumping for every ball fake like he was doing earlier in the year. So that alone gives him an opportunity to at least get 2 less fouls than he normally gets per game. He used an easy mark, or used to be an easy mark, to get up in the air, get up and under him, because once you're in the air, there's nothing you can do but come down and land. So kudos to him. Really good coaching. I'm certain that all the assistant coaches have worked with him on this in practice, but it's very important for him to stay out of foul trouble.
Yeah, Coach Patino has been talking about his lack of depth, and that, when you look at it, he put Sunday Silas in for a bit to give Nelly a breather, and Silas was 3 for 3, had 6 points, and Anton Brookshire was in, got 3. Io Sudoku had 0, as did Jefferson. So really, Iona's going, 6, maybe 7 deep for significant minutes. And hopefully everybody can stay healthy. He's going to, have to determine how he can, keep his regulars in the lineup, because he doesn't really have anybody that is the same level. In fact, he said against Marissa, when he took the regulars out for breaks, Marissa started catching up. So,
yeah, I think it's a tough scenario, because these guys the starters have played a lot of minutes. And although it's just 3 games or 2 games, based on, I think they have to win 3 to get there, I think.
It's just 3. Wednesday, Friday, Saturday.
So, if you go into a tough game in the first game, one that you should win easy, then that's not going to help. And then, semifinals and finals, if they can get there, guys are going to have to suck it up, and they'll get some rest prior to the tournament. That's the way I look at it. And then I think coach he's going to have to play some other guys. I think there are a couple teams that match up well against Iona. And if other teams are playing better than they've played in the second round of playing against Iona this season, it's going to force them to have to play some other guys. Certainly the guards, thank goodness for Brookshire coming off the bench, doing some good things, because, Clayton and Jenkins can get some level of a rest. But for them to win, they're going to have to be on the floor pretty much the whole game.
Absolutely. And just looking, Iona will play on Wednesday, and that will be at 7 o'clock. And they're going to play the winner of the first game in the men's tournament, and that is Mount St. Mary's versus Canisius. And Mount St. Mary seems like a team, and the coach there well.
I do.
That is ambitious. I was listening to their broadcaster talk about the history of St. Mary's basketball going back 105 years, I think it is, and the pride they have in that program. That they're going to come in and give if they give Canisius, and then they win, give Iona all they can handle.
Well, look at their last 3 games alone. I mean, they were beating Iona most of that game until Iona recovered and figured it out. They beat Ryder, and they were beating up on Siena pretty bad. So those are the 3 of the 4 top teams in the conference that Mount either beat or had to, you had to go to damn near overtime to beat them. So I don't think they're coming into any contest saying, well, we don't have a chance to win. I think they have a lot of confidence, and it's a great thing to have nothing to lose, to go in and play very loose. And if Iona's shots aren't falling, or if they get into foul trouble, or God forbid if somebody gets hurt, anything can happen. But let's hope that the Gales can prevail no matter who they play.
Well, they're playing with confidence, and winning 11 straight is not easy to do. I mean, they were struggling in mid-January after that bad night up at Siena and the home loss to Ryder, and earlier the loss at Quinnipiac. They weren't as solid as they are now. What's made a difference in their game since then? Obviously, Walter Clayton was injured part of January, missed several games. Was that enough to throw it off, or was there something else that happened that really got Iona back on target?
You know, I think what's made the difference is you can tell coach and his staff really focused these guys not so much on the streak, but game by game, winning one at a time, holding the home court. And frankly, I keep saying this, winning the games they're supposed to win. 11-game winning streak, it's fantastic, but they should do that. They're good enough and having this type of schedule that was home court friendly. So I'm happy that they did it because I thought that's something that they should do. But certainly you could tell coach really had them zoned in, scouted the other teams very well, took away what other teams like to do very well, and really with dynamic guards and with really good play on the inside inside and out from the bigs, those are really nice accomplishments to win those games in a row.
Absolutely. And then going down to Ryder, I mean, they essentially had lost to Ryder 2 games in a row. The quarterfinal game last year, which was a devastating loss for Iona, and then the loss in New Rochelle in January. To come back and win on Ryder's court in front of a big noisy crowd had to improve Iona's confidence going into the tournament, knowing they could very well play Ryder in the semis or the finals.
Yeah. So the way I would put it is that I don't think they cared much about what happened last year. They certainly cared about what happened this year, losing on their home court, and they wanted to go in shorthanded, with an injury-riddled team, and show that they are the king of the mountain for a reason. They won the conference for a reason, and it didn't matter where they were going to play them that last game. They were going to come to play and leave there victorious, which is what they did.
Okay. And so we'll be down there. A little news out of that Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference that they are committing to another 3 years playing the MAAC tournament in Atlantic City, which I was a little surprised at. I didn't know they were going into options. Apparently, the UBS in Queens was a possibility, but they only wanted to do the semis and the finals. Coach Pitino didn't seem to be really enamored with Atlantic City from some of his comments, but that's what they're going to take in with is back to Atlantic City the next 3 years. What did you think of that decision?
Yeah, without being in all the meetings and all the discussions and knowing what each, president of each university's contribution to that discussion is, I can't really say. I do think it's a strange place based on what the location of all these schools that are part of the MAAC. I would have loved the UBS arena because I'm less than 2 miles from there, so that would have been nice to walk there. But you know what? In a league that's typically one bid, um, you know, most other conferences like the Patriot League and others, the teams that win the conference get the benefit of playing those games on their home court. That gives some incentive for other schools to really, take seriously the season more than, if you get 4 games down, do you pack it in and just wait for the tournament? Or do you say, you know what, if, based on our schedule, we may have a chance to get back into this thing and get a home game. I think that could be more meaningful. But again, who knows what the conference, how they made the decision.
Well, the one note I saw in the release was that the presidents of the 11 schools wanted to get all 22 of the teams, both the 11 men's and 11 women's teams, to the one site in Atlantic City. Atlantic City offers obviously a lot of hotel space and a little bit of a resort atmosphere. Not so much in March. I've been there a lot in the summertime when it's warm. We go to the Atlantic City Air Show quite often. But in March, it's not quite there. The boardwalk's still nice to go running on. What's noticeable to me is not having an arena in Westchester County. When New Rock City was built 40 years ago, they built it with a 1,000 seat arena. And, I even asked the city fathers at the time, why don't you build a 5,000 seat arena? And you could play all the high school and college games, and Iona could have a nice court that would allow them to bring some big out of area teams in. And they went for the 1,000 seat arena, which wasn't big enough even. That was when Iona had a hockey team. And they found out that all the schools wanted to play Iona because they all wanted to play in the New York City area. All the New England schools, the upstate New York schools, they love the idea of coming into Westchester because everybody's got alumni in Westchester, and in the area. So I know Westchester County's looking at building a convention center, and I would be an advocate, for a 5,000 to 7,000 seat arena that you could play all the high school and college events. The county center is okay, but it's an old building. And all the buildings in America today that get big tournaments are new buildings. And so we'll see. Let's see what the county does, because it's noticeably lacking in Westchester not having an arena, that you can hold significant events at. What did you think? Do you think that makes a difference for, like, even for Iona, if there was an arena built in the Cross County Center in Yonkers or possibly even in White Plains?
Only difference it makes is it helps recruiting. I mean, you got to remember the New York metropolitan area is so different. Like you said, other teams come in not to just play at Iona or play at Fordham or play at these local schools that don't have overly great facilities. Although I like Iona's new facility.
New gym is great.
Be able to come in so they can recruit from the Catholic League in New York and from Mount Vernon, New Rochelle, White Plains, Yonkers, Stepanak, all those things. That's why they come in. But it doesn't matter. Listen, basketball is basketball. And like Coach Pitino alluded to, half jokingly, once they win the national championship, then they can, figure out what they're going to do from there.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of being a Providence College alumnus, I saw the model of when Dave Gavitt worked for the city to get the Providence. It was in the Providence Civic Center, about a 10,000 seat arena built in about 1974, 75. And what a difference it made for not just the program, but for the city and the wealth of events that were brought in.
Well, I hated that place. It was my last college basketball game, the Dunkin' Donuts Center against Georgetown, losing by 1 point. So, yes, it was great for the Providence area and all those local schools. And by the way, they brought the NCAA tournament there, which was really, really good for Providence College.
Oh, yeah.
But yes, I don't hate the place, but it was definitely more attractive and it did well for the city and income to the new mall and all that kind of stuff that they did up there in Providence. So I agree with you.
Yeah, Providence had some smart people. Rhode Island School of Design helped with the design of building a whole new downtown, moved the rivers, built a new waterfront, built the mall, built the new train station, a whole bunch of new buildings in that area. It's a very attractive place. But it was that 10,000 seat arena that Dave Gavitt got the city fathers to build for his team, allowed them to bring some games in. I had some great nights watching them beat Louisville and Michigan and North Carolina, actually, after the blizzard of 78. I really can date myself.
Yeah, wow. Okay.
But anyway, we are very happy with the Heinz Center. It's a beautiful new, the way it's been reconfigured, and the fans have been coming out, the students have been coming out, had some great attendance this year, and it's been a lot of fun. So what's your who do you think is going to get to the finals of the MAAC tournament?
Yeah, I don't see why Iona can't at very least get to the finals. I would think they'll handle, the winner of St. Mary's and Canisius, and then they'll run into the winner of that game versus Siena, I believe it is. No, is it Siena or is it Niagara? It's one of those schools. I'm not sure, but I don't see any reason they can't get to the finals, and then they have to do what they need to do.
Yeah. Just looking at the teams on the side of the bracket with Iona. Iona will play the winner of Mount St. Mary's versus Canisius, which will be Tuesday night at 5 o'clock. And then on the other side of the bracket that night at 9:30, that'll be Siena versus Niagara.
In Niagara,
So, right, so they would, if they win, they would play the winner of Siena versus Niagara.
yeah.
And I kind of think Siena's going to come through on that, but Niagara's played well towards the end of the season. The other side of the ledger, Ryder's got it's got the open game, Fairfield versus St. Peter's. They'll play the winner of, and then Quinnipiac will play the winner of Manhattan and Marist. So you can get a Quinnipiac Ryder semifinal, which would be quite a difficult game. And then it would be a 7:30 start for the championship game on Saturday. So it will be interesting at Boardwalk Hall. And just wanted to take a look at the women's bracket. Billy Chambers' team has done so well this year. And they're 23-6, 18-2. And they will play on Wednesday or Thursday. They're going to play the winner of Mount St. Mary's versus Canisius, same matchup. And in the same half of the bracket are Siena and Fairfield. In fact, I guess Iona's women's game would be Wednesday at 1 o'clock.
Yes.
And the second game in that bracket, Siena and Fairfield, would be Thursday at 3:30. And they would play on Friday at 11 a.m. And then the championship game would be Saturday at 3:30. So on the other side of the bracket is Niagara and Quinnipiac. So Billy Chambers' team really has come so far this year. 18-2 speaks for itself. And they lost that last game we were at to Marist. But we'll see. It wasn't that long ago. I think it's 6-7 years ago that Iona won both the men's and the women's MAAC tournament in the same year up in Albany.
I broadcast both games.
That was quite a night.
It was
for the school, for both teams to achieve that.
It was. I had so much fun broadcasting both games and watching both teams celebrate with each other. It was a real joy.
Well, let's see what happens. There's going to be a lot of good basketball to watch and see how both Iona teams handle the tournament. There's tournament pressure, especially when you're the favorite. But they're mature teams, and it's going to be fun to watch. And hopefully, they're both playing on Saturday.
Well, I expect the best out of both teams, and the coaches are going to do their very best to get them prepared, and players should enjoy it and go out and have some fun and win.
Absolutely. Kevin Hamilton, any thoughts on the world of college basketball? I mean, there's like no clear cut. There's no favorite for the NCAA tournament. You could make a case for, anybody in the top 25 right now, and a few who aren't.
Yeah, I agree with you. So, no, on to March Madness, and we'll have some fun with it. Enjoy watching it, and root for the Gales to do well.
Okay, Kevin Hamilton, class of '80, ESPN broadcaster and college basketball coach. Great to see you and hear insight. We'll see if we can catch up during the week and go into again, see as this MAAC tournament is conducted and moves along, and we get close to Sunday, to Selection Sunday, the day that so many college basketball teams look forward to, and some teams hope they're not going to be disappointed.
Hey, I'm gonna give you $1 bill to play in one of those slot machines for me down there. If you hit, be honest and let me know you use my bill.
Okay, I'll do that for you. I should give it to my wife. She has better luck than I do.
All right.
So we're gonna have some fun down there on Wednesday
Good,
for the
good.
game. Well, Kevin, great. Thanks for a few minutes tonight, and keep in touch, and we'll look forward to watching a lot of great basketball this week.
Hey, let me just say one last thing, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
This time of year really reminds me of the joy I had with my teammates back in the days, and I want to thank all of them. That I had the pleasure of playing with and helping to, put Iona on the map, and really enjoyed it. So I hope those who are watching this and listening to this know that those were special times.
And the foundation that your team and the success it had, the way it did put Iona on the map, you look around the Iona campus. I was there twice last week, not just for the game, but for an event at the Heinz School of Entrepreneurship and Innovation, and the beautiful new Bob LaPenta Business School building, and all the other nice appointments that, at Iona, the new School of Health Sciences, that's going to, right, it's just started over on the old Concordia campus in Bronxville. So many great initiatives that your basketball team in late 70s, early 80s really helped build a foundation for Iona's growth.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm happy to see the school has progressed to where it is.
Yeah. Well, Kevin, good to see you. You have a good week, and we'll enjoy watching some great MAAC tournament basketball this week.
Sounds good, my friend. Be well.
Our pleasure. Good to see you. And it's Ken Kraetzer for CAM Vets Media. We cover cadets, midshipmen, military veterans, and Iona University basketball. Have a good evening. Thanks for watching.